Hello and welcome to Courtyard Clubcall number 3. This is to cover the unfortunate Euros defeat last night. We're recording this on Monday morning, 11 o'clock. First word on the Euros. So joining me today, we have Dan. Hi, Dan.
Good morning.
And we got my daughter, Chloe. Hi, Chloe.
Hi.
So, guys, Dan, over to you. What did you think of that?
I mean, just England, isn't it? Just England. Disappointing. Disappointing in a way that obviously the result, but Spain were good, I thought. So, yeah, it's just one of them ones. I think we just have to take the loss a little bit. And like I say, take the time to sort of look at the achievement of actually just reaching the final. You wouldn't say that England were the best team in Europe. The world rankings say that they're not. So to be in the final is an outstanding achievement, really.
Yeah.
What was your thoughts, Chloe?
I thought we played not our worst performance, but again, not our best. Spain are obviously a really good team and they're very in form at the moment. Like they've not lost any of their games in the tournament yet. So I didn't think we were going to win, to be honest, but I think we gave it our best shot. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good summary. I've got a shameless plug for our charity walk actually. So Just Giving site, head on to that. Stockport County to Blackpool, 85-kilometre walk. Any sponsorships would be greatly received. But I've been pounding the streets of Stockport, listening to various podcasts. And on my Sunday morning training, I listened to 4 Euros previews podcasts. And there's one, it was really good actually. So it was the Football Daily, it's the Guardian one, and a guy on there called Barney Ronay. He was really interesting, and he was saying that his concern for us was going to be dropping too deep and defending as a 5 rather than defending as a 3. And I think that sort of came to pass. It seemed to me that we allowed Cucurella far too much sort of space to get up. Carvajal on the other side as well, and that just pushed our players back too much. And because of that, and because of the lack of pace that we had with Kane, I mean, it's been done to death, Kane, but I'm sure we'll talk about this as well. But that just allowed their central defenders just to defend really high up the pitch and just compress all that space in midfield. And it was so disappointing because, like, our midfield, we played so well, that box midfield, against the Netherlands, but they were just nullified, weren't they, Dan? And it was nothing to do, I don't think, with the players themselves. I think Spain were just too good. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, we're a team that, for me, with the starting 11, we were a team that was set up or have players that benefit from possession football. Kobe Mainu is a player that when you have the ball or the team has the ball, he makes himself available for the pass. When we haven't got the ball and Spain have got high levels of possession, then he's a little bit out the game for me. And that's where players like Conor Gallagher becomes better because he's got the energy and the to go and hunt the ball back and get the ball back. Where for me, players like Kobe are better when we've got the ball as a team because he makes himself available. He gets hold of the ball. He looks forward with the ball. But if we haven't got the ball as a team, he's just out the game. So it sort of played in his hands a little bit. In Gareth's post match, he did answer the question obviously quite well about going from 3 at the back to 5 at the back to 4 at the back. And obviously he's gone back to a back 4 to sort of like to nullify the Spain formation a little bit. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest disappointment for me was the continuance with Kane. He got 60 minutes, didn't he? And I don't know what's wrong with him. I was surprised. I was thinking, okay, well, which players do we think might retire at the end of this tournament? So which players are not going to get another tournament in them? You got Trippier, he's 34. Walker's 33, I think. I was thinking, Kane must be 33, 34. He's 30. Couldn't believe it.
Yeah. He's, well, as we've all said, he just doesn't look right. He's not the Harry Kane that even, at Christmas time, he he's obviously not fit or he's got an injury. He looks very, very leggy, obviously. But same again, you have to give him that start. You have to obviously give him that opportunity. And he's got 60 minutes. I know he was right to come off at 60 minutes. I was surprised, though, it was the only substitution that was made on 60 minutes. I thought he would have brought Cole Palmer on at the same time. And the other player that I felt just fell off the cliff, and no disrespect to him before, was Luke Shaw. I thought he started the game absolutely brilliantly. Looked like he'd been playing football for weeks and weeks and weeks. And but when it got to that sort of 60, 70-minute mark, I just felt that his legs had basically gone. He looked very lethargic and tired. And Spain started having more joy on that side of the pitch, to the point where I think they actually moved, say, Williams over from that side, and they were doubling up on him, on Luke Shaw. I just felt that was the time, really, when Kane came off, really, to bring others off as well with him.
Yeah, I felt like he started the game really well. It looked really hopeful, like he was putting good balls into the box and stuff. But I agree, I think he did get a little bit tired towards the end because he's not played that many games recently, so that's fair enough. So yeah, I think he should have made a substitution at about 60 minutes. Yeah.
He certainly had Yamal in his back pocket first half hour, didn't he? I mean, Yamal he hardly got a sniff, and every time he got the ball, Shaw was right into him. I was surprised that he actually played him for 90 minutes because it was either going to be Trippier like on for 45 minutes, maybe even do a hatchet job on Yamal, get a booking, and then Shaw come on for the final 45. Or I thought if he was going to play Shaw, okay, take him off. I was amazed that he got 90 minutes, and he offered, first half he offered a little bit down the left, but second half we had nothing, did we, down the left side? His legs were gone.
Yeah, he was struggling, and the same again. There was a lot of players, I think, that sort of, as the game went on, really sort of fell off the cliff a little bit, and needed a little bit more from the bench, really, to sort of boost it up a bit. I mean, with the starting 11, I mean, Shaw was the one that I got wrong on the starting 11. I did have Trippier starting because I just felt that Gav is very consistent with picking the same 11, a bit like Dave Challoner is at times. He doesn't really change a starting 11 after a win. And I thought, like you say, Trippier would start that game.
I feel like Jude Bellingham was practically non-existent the whole game. I feel like I can't even remember a standout chance that he had or anything that he did that made me think, oh yeah, that was good. I feel like he did not have a good game that day.
I think the thing with Jude is that he's obviously come off the back of his first season at Madrid. Was it second now? First season.
First season.
He's played a lot of games. Obviously, they got to Champions League final, which they won, and his legs were just gone. And I felt like he was trying. I mean, the main difference that I thought between the two teams, and like it's been, all the commentators have said it. England have relied on moments and sort of moments of individual brilliance. Spain were a team, and they let the ball do the work. We were constantly running with the ball. Jude was trying to make something happen. Saka was trying to make something happen. It wasn't a nice sort of flowing passing movements. And I think that's where we probably went wrong as a team. What do we think in relation to Southgate? Do we think blame can be apportioned to him, or do we think that we were just beaten by the better team in the end?
I think Spain were the best team in the competition, throughout the competition. So it's, like I said before, people will criticise Southgate for losing a final, but you can only lose a final if you're in the final. It's as simple as that. Out of the last 4 competitions, he's got 2 finals, 1 semi-final, and a quarter-final of a World Cup. Would any other manager do any better? There would be people arguing, saying, well, another manager would have won us that final. Yeah, but they may have not got us to that final. So there's no divine right. You need a bit of luck. You need players to just something go for you, and it is what it is.
Yeah, I think Southgate's been getting a lot of criticism for not making substitutions quickly enough. But at the end of the day, we got to the final. We got there in the end. So there's only so much you can criticise him for. And I agree. I think Spain definitely were the best team in the tournament. They've not lost any of their games in the whole thing. So I definitely think they were worthy of the win, but it's a shame.
And they've beaten some top teams. Let's face it. They beat Germany. They beat. Did they beat Italy in the groups? In the same group as Italy?
I'm not sure. They beat France, obviously.
They beat France, obviously. Yeah. So, yeah, okay. I mean, I thought Pickford kept us in the game. He made some really good saves. I was disappointed in. Maybe we have been relying on moments too much, like the Jude Bellingham overhead kick and that, and Declan Rice. Oh my gosh! Like last minute header, how he didn't bury that header. But that could have been another one of those. We've been played off the park, and then suddenly we get ourselves back to 2-2, heading into extra time, and you never know what can happen. But that was a pivotal moment, wasn't it? That header, the first header, the free header that he had.
Yeah, it was. I don't know. It was like a Sol Campbell moment, wasn't it? That was the sort of like if that Harry Maguire was hitting that header. It was a good header, but it was straight at the goalkeeper. Once it, in all fairness, the goalkeeper hasn't had to move to make that save. It's straight out. Anywhere else, I think that's in the back of the net. A defender's not going to be able to stop that.
And the keeper was sort of closer to his right-hand post as well.
Yeah,
I think there's a camera angle where you can see the camera sort of in the back of the net. And you're thinking, just aim it at the camera, and it's going in. The keeper's got no chance whatsoever. And ironically, you sort of wanted Kane there.
I actually saw.
Did you say that? Yeah.
I saw them zoom in on Harry Kane on the bench, and he was just shaking his head, looking absolutely devastated.
I mean, that's bread and butter for him, isn't it? If he'd been there, that was in. But that's football for you.
Yeah. I mean, that's the problem with Kane. Is Southgate wants him on the pitch for them moments.
Yeah.
But the problem is when he's on the pitch, he doesn't do enough to create them moments to get you at the pitch to win the corners and throw-ins like that. And that's it's one of them ones. Same again. I was like I say when you could see the run from Rice, you could see the contact. I was jumping up in the air as soon as he headed it, to be honest, because I thought as soon as he's made contact with his head with the ball, I'm thinking that's in the back of the net. And then, like I say, the rebound as well, and just unlucky with the follow up as well. So yeah, but I mean, same again. Just to emphasise how good Spain were, that first half, Spain had 69% of the possession, England had 31%. And even with that 31%, we still managed to get 3 shots off at goal compared to Spain's 5. And obviously, but the same again, it sort of gives you an emphasis of how much more attacking Spain were. They had 6 corners in the first half. We only had 1. So, like I say, the game was just, played without the ball. A lot of work, a lot of energy used, and especially, like I say, finals. And I know these are professional players, but the amount of energy they must use during the day in the build-up, in just nervous energy, it must be just amazing. And then expect them to actually put in 90 minutes or 120 minutes if it goes to extra time. It's just phenomenal for me.
What did you think of I mean, it wasn't that hot, was it, in Berlin last night? Because, I mean, we've seen massive sort of swings in the weather, haven't we? So I've always thought that England struggle in major tournaments because it's in the middle of summer. It's always hot wherever you go around the world, whether it's Japan and it's super humid, or whether it's Europe and it's 30 degrees or whatever it is. and that doesn't help us, I don't think. So do we think that with it being in Germany, that was a chance missed? Looking back on it,
I think if we didn't get to the final, it's a chance missed for sure. But we got to the final, and once you're at the final, you know, in all fairness, if we'd won that, would we would be saying the better team lost because Spain were the better team. Do we want England to win? Yeah, of course we do. But would we want it to be same again? Would we be happy if the match was decided on a talking point or controversy that really was nothing to do about the game? It was about a bad decision or a refereeing. I think it was a good final. I just same again. I don't think we can blame the weather. Same again. One of the least tournaments. How many times did an England player go down with cramp? I can't really remember, which is normal thing when, like I said, when we're playing in sort of like hotter climates, players going down with cramp, water breaks, stopping and starting the game. Spain managed the game a little bit more with once they went 1-0 up for sure. They were obviously taking their time and doing things, but that's nothing more than what you would expect England to do if they were in the same position.
what did you think at half time when Rodri went off? I was celebrating.
I was so happy.
Yeah, I was thinking this is it. And then ironically, I wonder if the players they're only human. I wonder just if they just thought themselves, great, the best midfielder, probably the best defensive midfielder potentially in the world, hasn't come out for the second half, and they just relaxed because those first 5 minutes, first 3 minutes when Spain scored their goal, we'd switched off, hadn't we? We hadn't come out after half time, and I just wonder whether they thought, oh great, okay, we've got a chance here.
It's a bit of a hard one because it seemed on obviously the TV cameras that England were out in the tunnel a lot earlier than what Spain were as well. So same again, just have they sort of like stood in the tunnel, relaxed. Nobody's got them geared up. Spain obviously definitely started a lot more intensity, a lot more on the front foot than what we did. And quarters on the hop. It's as simple as that.
They were excellent at getting those overloads. You know, the overloads that Dave always talks about.
Yeah.
On the pitch, and they scored the first goal from getting an overload on one side, and then that released Williams effectively to come in with nobody behind him.
Very much a team is you watch the player that hasn't got the ball. You're sort of deceived a little bit with Spain because you're watching the player that's got the ball. He's not the threat. He's not the danger. It's the player that hasn't got the ball that is making the move. He's the threat. He's the danger.
Although they had added that danger with the ball with Yamal.
Yeah.
And I think we were so bothered about what he was going to do with the ball. Was he going to cut inside and shoot, which is what he's done very well throughout the tournament. And that made us all shuffle over that little bit towards that side, didn't it? Which left, as you rightly say, Nico Williams, no one was around him. He was without the ball, came to and he smacked it in.
Yeah.
I feel like what Spain had that we didn't have was fluidity. I feel like when we were passing the ball, it could sometimes be a bit disjointed and people sometimes didn't really know what they were going to do with it. And I feel like Spain just kind of were a really good unit as a team, which I feel like we've lacked for quite some time.
Spot on. Their decisions on the ball were far better.
But I think that comes down to them having a lot of the possession in them first 10 minutes. The fact that the first 10 minutes was total Spain, total domination. I don't think we put 3 passes together in them first 10 minutes. And they managed to find their stride obviously a lot sooner, which dominated the game. I think we needed to rather stop that domination very, very early on and be a little bit of enforcement on it. Or we needed to get the ball and start putting passes to ourselves together and starting getting comfortable on the ball. We just never seemed to get comfortable on the ball due to, for me, them first 10 minutes of Spain dominating.
And we started doing the old England thing of punting it from the keeper, didn't we? As as soon as we couldn't find that space in midfield, which the Netherlands allowed us in that first half, Pickford was doing his old, no, leave me to it, and I'll pump it up the field. Then you lose possession again, you don't get it back for another 90 seconds. So.
Yeah, and he's a bit like what Ben is at times. His radar for me wasn't in tune last night. There was some long balls that were just a little bit of a stray, or he was making decision making. He was, they were calling it for one side to go one side, and he'd go the other side with it. No doubt his saves were world class. To be honest, you can't fault him for his saving, but like I say, his distribution weren't as good as what it has been in other games for sure. But then the different mindset of chasing and being in control. And like you say, when you start chasing the game, you start making hurried or rash decisions to try and force something onto the game. And I think that might be a little bit guilty of.
Where do you think we go from here, guys? So obviously, team come back, go on holiday for a little bit. Southgate has a little bit of a think. What do we think? Do we think he's going to take it on for another 2 years, or do we think that's it for him? What do you think, Chloe?
I think that's going to be it for him. I think after losing 2 finals in a row, it's just going to be a bit too much for him. Do you know what I mean? I don't know how to describe it, just the emotional side of it. And obviously all the criticism he's been receiving recently, I think he's going to finish.
It's a hard one because at the end of the day, for me, if Gareth wants to continue, then he should continue. He's earned the right. It's his job. He's earned the right to hold on it. Regardless of the fact that he's lost 2 finals, we got to the finals. Like I say, I think there might be a bit of an overhaul with the team for the World Cup in 2 years. Obviously, you've got players that are going into sort of mid-30s. By then, your Trippiers, your Kyle Walkers, even Harry Kane is on the wrong side of 30. So it wouldn't surprise me if there's not a massive turnaround in the squad, but you'd expect maybe 3 or 4 of them players that are in the squad now might not make the World Cup. Would somebody do better than Southgate? I'm not 100% sure, to be honest. But it's one of them. If he doesn't want to do it, I can completely understand why. As you sort of get labelled as something, But yeah, it's down to him for me.
I think it must be so hard for him to get himself back up again. I mean, I know people say, oh, he's paid millions of pounds a year to do it. But you can just see it etched in his face, like from 8 years ago up to the present day. It's taken his toll, I think, mentally, physically. And the thing about him is I think he loves all his players. He just wants them all to win, or I mean, like you can see it, those penalties when Saka took his penalty and they all scored their penalties. It meant so much to him, and I just fear maybe that he's mentally a little bit spent, and I can see Graham Potter coming in. I mean, I think one thing that we have learnt from this tournament, you don't need to have a big name as your manager. Look at the Spain manager, De La Fuente. He's done most of his work with the with the under age groups, under 17s, under 19s, under 21s, I think. And that's where Gareth came from, really. Okay, he managed Middlesbrough for a little bit, but he did a lot with the England younger age groups, and I think Potter's done a little bit of that with the FA as well himself, hasn't he? I think before he took was it the Brighton job, was that the first one, or was he working somewhere abroad before then? I can't quite remember.
Yeah.
Denmark or somewhere, Norway. So I could see him being a good fit for the FA, and I think with the good work that Southgate has done, I think he would be accepted as well. I don't think we're looking for a Mourinho, a Klopp type of manager. I could be wrong, but that's sort of what I'd be looking at.
Yeah, definitely. I don't think he needs a name or somebody that's got absolutely titles and something like that. The only one that I would probably like that is a name is Ancelotti. For the same reasons,
He's
what
got
the
lots of
play.
titles, Dan.
Yeah, but same here. What the players say about him is more about his man management, the belief that he gives his players and stuff like that. And he always comes across as a good guy, to be honest. Not like a Capello that seems to be a bit arrogant at times, where Ancelotti seems just a real nice guy, to be honest. He's the only real one, I would say, big name that would get me off my seat and get me excited. But yeah, I mean,
Do you
it's one
think
of them
we've got
ones.
the players? Like, genuinely, do you think the players are as good as we think they are? Because I'm not convinced.
I think they are. I think we haven't found a formation or a style that gets the best out of our best players. To be honest, same again with Bellingham. I think Bellingham was played a little bit out of position and was asked to do things that he doesn't normally do, so we didn't get the best out of him. Same with Foden to a certain extent. Um,
You've
that
got
we
to
didn't
remember,
really,
though, that these players are playing in teams that have 60-70% possession. Real
yeah,
Madrid, Man City. As soon as you put them into the international game against the best teams, okay, we can say that, we should have played better against your Slovakias, your Slovenias, your Serbias, but it's always going to be difficult coming against teams that put like every man behind the ball.
yeah,
But when you come across the best teams in the world and we haven't got the ball, I don't think our best players are used to that.
yeah. That's exactly it. How we play with the ball and how we play without the ball. Our best bits that we've looked good is when we've had dominated the possession, we've had the ball. We've struggled um, when we haven't got the ball, for sure. Like same again with Spain. Overall in that game we had 35% possession. Spain had 65% of the possession. Um, and like I say, and Kobe Mainu, absolutely brilliant player, will be at if he's on the projector he's got, he will be a first name on the sheet for England for many years to come. But when we don't have the ball, he looked a little bit lost and a little bit like a headless chicken. When we've got the ball, he's brilliant. As a team, when we've got the ball, he's making himself available. He receives the ball in any position on the pitch, and he'll try and play his way out of danger. So yeah, I think, like I say, we've got players there. We've got some really, like I say, Cole. You look at the age of the squad. You take out especially the over 30s out of that team, and the average age must be probably 23 in that team. So yeah, I think it's promising. I don't think we have to sort of be all doom and gloom and it's the end of the world and stuff like that. There's still a lot of positivity. I think when you look at that squad and Cole Palmer's, you Phil Foden's, Jude Bellingham, these are lads that are not even 25. They're not even at their peak. We all say that players get at their peak at 27. These players are 2 tournaments away from their being on their peak.
So who do
Yeah.
we think would be our English, maybe 3 players of the tournament? What do you think, Chloe?
This is quite a different one, but I'd say one of them would be Pickford, because I think he's made some amazing saves, and he's really kind of saved the team basically. I can't really say who else. Obviously, the obvious one is Jude Bellingham because he scored the overhead kick, but I don't think in the rest of his games, I don't think he's been a standout player or anything. So I think Gahey's been really good. He was kind of a bit of a newer one this year. Actually, I did look it up in the England v Spain. He only got 6.2 on FOTMob, which I think was quite low. I think he deserved to get a lot higher. So yeah, I think Gahey and Pickford are defenders.
It's a good point that about FOTMob, because they gave Bellingham man of the match.
Yeah, they did.
8.2 on FotMob. Like, out of every single player on the pitch, including Williams for Spain, FotMob gave Bellingham man of the match. So you can't always go off stats, can you? When you're seeing something like that. For me, I'm most excited about Palmer, Mainu, and I think if once Bellingham gets stronger, as I say, he's had such a long season with Real Madrid. I think Palmer, Mainu, Saka, sort of flitting around that midfield and sort of getting forward, I think they will be excellent. I don't see where our next striker is coming from because Watkins is 28. Okay, he's no spring chicken. I don't think Tony is really international quality.
Yeah.
He'll do something. He's like Andy Carroll. You won't know this guy, Chloe, but a guy called Andy Carroll who played for Newcastle, and he was just an archetypical sort of 6'5" sort of central defender that you just booted the ball up to. He was always injured as well. But where is that next centre forward, like English centre forward coming from? I don't know.
Yeah.
No, I agree. And with the point with Pickford, I think at times with Pickford, I think playing for Everton doesn't actually help him. I think actually he's a better keeper than Everton. I think if he was playing Champions League football, I think he would actually be regarded as probably one of the world's best. But I think he is better than what than the level he actually plays for at club level at times, I think. For sure. Mainu, absolutely fantastic. I thought overall in the tournament. Little glimpses of what Foden can do. Same again, we just saw glimpses more than of everybody, but we didn't see enough sustained of it. Bellingham, we saw glimpses of what he can do. Saka, we saw little glimpses. Cole Palmer, and you could agree or disagree with Southgate and his substitutions, but every time he made a substitution, they made a difference. I think they did something. Even last night with Ollie Watkins coming on, straight away we looked a better team for pushing, getting in behind and making the runs and getting further up the pitch. And you could tell there was a swing in momentum when Ollie Watkins came on. And I just think all the substitutions in all the games had made an impact of when they've come on. But like I say, I don't think you have to be. There's lots of positives to look at, especially when you, like say, look at the age of these players, and what. Same again. Yes, forward line. Who's that 22, 23-year-old that's out there in the English leagues that's going to be the next English centre forward? Scratch our heads on that. But same again, do we need it? Would we be better actually playing Bellingham and Foden up front on that? Man City have obviously done it with Foden, played him up in that front. Real Madrid have done it with Bellingham, played him as that sort of false number 9.
It's just whether England have the quality of player around those players. We haven't got a Vinicius and a Rodrigo, and a Modric and a Cruz, have we? And same with City, De Bruyne, Rodri, Haaland. I mean, and that's where we've got such a strong domestic league, haven't we? The Premier League is so strong, but it's full of very, very talented non-English players, which our English players are playing with, which is brilliant. But the key players in those teams that make our English players play well, we don't have. I still don't think we have them for England, and I think we'll continue to struggle with that. I mean, if you look at the Spanish team, they had a lot of Basque players in there. Real Sociedad, Athletic Bilbao were represented. I think only 3 from Barcelona and 3 from Real Madrid, or something like that, in a whole squad of 26. Very, very low numbers. So cool. Okay, well, we're up to 35 minutes, guys. Anything else we want to say on the old England thing?
No, we'll obviously World Cup's now in 2 years' time. we're going to win that. Obviously, it's coming home. You know,
That's America, is it?
I believe it's in the USA. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, that's how it is with an England fan. I mean, growing up, us getting knocked out in the semi-final on penalties was, an achievement. You know, that now we're getting to finals. And we not, like you say, we didn't lose that final 3-0 or 2-0. We lost it 2-1, and we give them a go, but they were just a better team.
I think it'll be interesting in 2 years' time to see how players like Mainu, Palmer, and Bellingham have kind of grown and expanded their talents even more. I think that'd be quite interesting to see. And yeah, I'm excited.
That's a good point, because when we have sort of fallen at the last hurdle at previous 1990, 1996, it tended to be an aging squad that had had their final sort of hurrah, and then a load of players retired, and then we were sort of back to square one. The one positive I think, we can take from this is that it is a young team, majority of young players in there that will only get better. We were probably ahead of where the FA and Gareth thought that we were with taking a team of this sort of age profile anyway. So yeah, let's look for the World Cup, maybe the next Euros as well as the one to win when these players are going to be sort of in their prime. Yeah. Final mention for Odin Bailey. Did anybody see the BBC?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So messages from home. So Odin Bailey got a voice note for Jude, which was nice to see, and plenty of Stockport flags at the tournament as well, which was also nice to see. They must have cost them an absolute fortune, bless them, to get over there. So, but let's hope they all had a good time and roll on the season. Cool. Okay, so our next podcast is going to be on Wednesday. So that's going to be Waggy and Andy doing that podcast. Not sure who their guest is, if I'm honest. Do you know, Dan?
I don't know. I can't remember. I think we might be coming into it if we can, because we'll be obviously out in Pinatar. So
we'll
if
be at
we
the fan event, I think, won't we, when the podcast goes live, or maybe just after. And then we're going to be recording some content, hopefully from Pinatar as well. Probably not going to be live, but we'll see how the connection goes and everything. But we will get to see something from Pinatar as well. Good, cool. Well, thanks, guys. Nice to have you on, and roll on County and League One.
Yeah, the football season now starts. International football's finished. It's now all county football season is officially start of the season now.
Yeah.
Great.
Cool. Okay. Cheers, guys.
See you later.
Bye.